Now we're in the final six. Racist history has been made, and the people on BB Twitter, they're still mad. I mean, first of all, in reaction to the historical making moment, which is, again, racist by its very nature, people have been reacting, defending this nonsense yet again by referencing 8 years ago, Big Brother 15. I mean, they just keep on running with this clip of Aaron and Gina Marie having their fight with Candace. And it's like, but still, it doesn't justify an alliance based on race, targeting people based on race 8 years later. Because once again, you have these people Holden, Brent, Travis, Sarah Beth, Claire, Derek X, Frenchie, Alyssa, all of these people that aren't so called black, you're holding them all responsible for the actions of others in a season 8 years ago. So, based on these dumbasses' logic, if someone did something to someone else 8 years ago, if I share the same race as that person, then it's justifiable to hold me responsible for another person's actions 8 years ago that involved other people that weren't us. That's not even related to us. They just have the same racial identifiers. These people are fucking stupid. And they do this with any and everything, not just with Big Brother. I mean, all of 2020, burning, looting, murdering, and rioting was justified based on what happened to one crackhead named George Floyd that none of these motherfuckers cared about, but they just use it as an excuse to cause the chaos because they are chaotic people. And that's being reflected here in the Big Brother community amongst the woke tards that exist within the Big Brother community. Because again, based on their logic, Claire is guilty for what Aaron did. Brittany is guilty for what Gina Marie did. No matter how they behave as individuals, they're guilty. And the fact that they're highlighting this season as an argument to justify the cookout, like unbeknownst to them, they're basically saying, well, the cookout is racist because look at these races. But again, these people are dumbasses. But they're not just mad at people reacting unfavorably to what has happened. They're also acting very upset because the right black is not in power. Yes, they're mad that Kylan has won HOH and nominated Hannah and Tiffany. And you can see the immediate first reactions goes like this. So he's nominating the two people who have sacrificed the most for the Cookout's mission? Got it. That's the top comment to the response of Kylan winning HOH and nominating Hannah and Tiffany. And having the audacity to say they sacrificed the most? They didn't sacrifice shit. Hannah would have been gone pre-jury if it wasn't for Xavier's relationship with Christian. Because Christian and Alyssa, when Christian was HOH, wanted to target Hannah. And he could have gotten her out pre-jury. And then someone like Tiffany probably could have got out early into jury. And you can't forget Derek F. He chose to put himself on the block so Ozza wouldn't get pissed off. and then the multiple competitions and relationships between Kylan and Xavier pretty much did the bulk of the work. But, people don't want to hear that. Instead, they rather state the obvious. The Cookout was really all about elevating the women of the Cookout. And that's coming from a Big Brother Twitterer who has over 9,000 followers. Now, I don't know if this person is so-called black or white. It doesn't matter because it's been made known that if you're the wrong black, then they will justify a white liberal woman in a gorilla mask throwing an egg at you. And they won't report it as being racist or white supremacist at all. They'll just call her a protester and mostly ignore the story. So even if Big Brother T is a white liberal female, well, it's okay to dismiss the men because it's really about elevating the women. And when you search that word coon, yeah, it's still active. That's another reaction to this historic moment. Oh no, it's not celebration. It's all about continuing to use a racist term, such as coon is, and calling all of the males of the Cookout coons. You have one Twitter user saying, yes, Derek, you're on an island. You're on the island of misfit toys. And coons that only date white boys. Fuck out of here, and I can't stand this man. Now that's someone calling Derek F. a coon. Here's another Twitter user. Referencing Howard from Big Brother 15. Howard and his beautiful wife. Too bad we're stuck with coons this season. And the fact that they highlighted Howard, obviously they're referring to the male house guests that remain. Here's another one saying, should have known Kylan's coon ass was misogynistic when he lustered after SB. This person put we, but they meant to put he because they're a dumbass. Here's another one saying, anyone who didn't agree with a Final Six cookout was called all kinds of coons, laughing my ass off. Now they're gonna get rid of all the black women and skate to 750K. So obviously this is the person that's laughing at people who cheered for the Cookout because the black women are going. Because that's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to be the men. Because that's what this alliance was for. The racist alliance was actually for the sexist agenda. Go figures. Multiple layers of bigotry. And here's another. No, hold on. Okay, here we go. I really hate this man. They really handed this coon 750K. Now, this was someone quote tweeting Xavier saying that he likes exotic women because they're rare and uncommon. They have an issue with, Xavier's taste, even though still haven't seen anyone, outside of Metro D say anything about Tiffany's little Whitey #1, Whitey #2 comments that she's consistently made. So she's said it enough for people to catch. But of course, they ignore it because they deal in double standards. And they're shameless hypocrites. And they stated themselves on Twitter. Anyway, here's another Twitter user using the word coon. The real twist this season is the Cookout men being coons. What a disappointment, but not surprised. And that's followed by another tweet saying, not us all thinking Kylan was a coon, but out of the 3 men, he sounds the most respectful, explaining preferences. Now, this is a reaction to the guys talking about their preferences in relationships. And of course, someone had an issue with it. But again, they had no issue with Tiffany talking about Whitey #1, Whitey #2, or Hannah giving all her shout outs to Enzo. Here's another Twitterer saying X is a nasty coon. It'll be a shame if he wins. And here's another one. If X or Kai win, that's fine, but I mean, a coon won the season, so same thing as a white man. Now let me read this one again. If Xavier or Kylan wins, that's fine, but I mean, a coon won the season, so same thing as a white man. So if Kylan or Xavier wins, it's the same thing as a white man. And that's meant to be an insult, obviously. And again, this is what BB podcasters outside of Metro D, this is what they support. Rob has a podcast, Derek and Cody's podcast, all the other podcasters who are celebrating this, this is what they are also celebrating, because to celebrate the cookout is to support all the shit that comes with celebrating the cookout. And what comes with celebrating the cookout is people being called coon. Because that's how all of these woke movements function. They're really about elevating the women and downing the men and just exploiting the children. But anyway, here's another Twitterer. Tiff worked so hard. She got rid of Derek X and Claire, two people who would have taken her to the end, just for this coon weirdo to take her out at 6. And finally, here's another one. Get this light-skinned coon weirdo off my screen. Out. I cannot stand his ass. And obviously that's referring to Kylan. So again, any doubts that this is the most racist season? Or are we just going to go back and forth with morons online about what happened 8 years ago in 15, as if that's relevant to what's happening right now? Because in their brains, both seasons can't be bigoted and can't be racist. And the reason why this season is worse is because they pretended to be these people's friend. And none of these people, and I'm going to talk about the ones that made it to jury, Claire, Brittany, Sarah Beth, none of them behaved like Aaron or Gina Marie. Now, they would have had an argument if they did, but they didn't, so they have no fucking argument. And you even have Tiffany, by the way, suddenly regretting not playing the game. She spoke to the camera before veto started, and she said, quote, "There's a son I need to provide for. There is a grand prize that will guarantee I will be able to do something for him and me. Hopefully for me, there are opportunities after this." So now she is thinking about her son and what she could provide for her son. But she wasn't thinking about that at Final 8. When she got rid of Claire, when she could have got rid of Kylan, hell, when she got rid of SB, when she could have got rid of Xavier. Because both women were down to do the all-female alliance thing. SB was down for it, and Claire was down for it. But she decided to, forego what she could do for her and her son and play these racist games. But again, this is the stupid shit that you get when you play these stupid-ass games. And her good ally, Hannah, is ready to make a final 3 with Xavier and Kylan. So her girl don't have her back. And she shouldn't. She should be playing her own game. But again, Hannah, none of these fools play their own game. I mean, this race game bullshit is only going to benefit one of them. And I just found out that second place now gets $75,000. So, you know, Kylan and Xavier, one or both of them, about the, I guess, benefit off these racist games. Because now they got Hannah ready to propose a final three. Oh, and of course they're mad about that on Twitter as well. But again, this season has been a joy to watch and talk about, not for gameplay, but for the just blatant exposure of like all of these hypocrites and how they just expose the fact that no matter, well, the more woke they are, the more bigoted they actually are, because they co-sign all of this, to use one of their words, problematic bullshit. They co-sign it all. You know, blaming people for the actions of others, which last time I checked is a racist thing that we call the judicial system out for. But here they are endorsing that. And then them cheerleading things happening this season based upon race. And then on top of all of that, we didn't get a real season. Because again, Kylan, Xavier, and was it Tiffany? They've all stated that this wasn't a real season. I mean, before Claire got evicted, she said, you know, the season doesn't start until the last person that's not a Cookout member is gone. But yeah, anyway, Tiffany could have did some work and truly earn her status that people love to bestow upon her undeservingly. But now her fate is pretty much sealed because Hannah's ready to offer up a final three with Xavier and Kylan, and she spoke to cameras about that and said that she would keep that. Stupid on her part, but that's what she said. And Kylan has won another competition. He's won Veto, BB Comics. I mean, it should be a cakewalk for them now, with Hannah willing to go to final three with the guys and Derek F. and Azza being incapable of winning anything. Man, well, we'll see what happened the rest of this week, because I believe another double is coming up. And just check the Big Brother Twitter, because it's really comical to see all of these people's negative reactions, because as they cite Big Brother 15 racism for justification of this season, those same people are calling the black males this season coon over and over again. And no podcaster outside of Metro D will report it. Why? Because they're a bunch of fucking coward bastards. Which is why I don't even bother listening to them any longer.